Obviously, this story is extremely difficult to talk about, and we could only promise to do our best during this very difficult time after the tragic events that unfolded last night in New Zealand. Events that I was following very closely as they were unfolding. Someone even sent me a video link, and watching the terrible events, uh, there's absolutely no words to even bring to the actual events that unfolded just a few moments ago, and the reality of that situation. Um, it was even difficult to sleep. I had nightmares, even woke up grinding my teeth because of the intensity. And I do not recommend people watch any of the videos going around of the events that unfolded in Christchurch, New Zealand. And as soon as the events were unfolding, I remember seeing everything on Twitter, seeing videos and photos and names of the individual. And automatically, the first thing I started to talk about is, of course, the copycat effect, because media companies, especially television companies, have a rule that they don't highlight or show crazy people, especially during sporting events, because people usually run out to the field with either a political message or a corporate message, and they know that this is a way to get attention. And media companies and sporting companies and television companies have one rule that they all agree with: let's stop showing these people, because the more we show these people, the more we show who they are, the more people will start actually doing that. Similar things actually happen with also terrorist attacks and mass shootings. There's a clinical psychologist that even broke down this copycat effect. And a lot of media who has been showing photos and names of the individuals who have just been concentrating on the body counts and kind of making this guy an anti-hero, especially with this video, are actually helping perpetrate the copycat effect. And last night, I remember talking to the few individuals that followed me, reaching out to some other individuals in the mainstream media, telling them, please stop showing this guy's face, this guy's name, this guy's actions, because it's only going to perpetrate to the bigger effect of this happening again. And seeing the video, this is something that any rational person doesn't want to happen. And sadly, some people, even in the media, got my message and even refused to do anything about it because of the attention that they were getting, which only makes this situation even more sicker than it is. And I think one thing that is very apparent from the events that unfolded is that this sick individual wanted attention. This is why he wrote up a huge manifesto. This is why he live streamed the entire event. This is why he also mentioned what I believe to be one of the most prominent people on the internet, one of the most famous people in the world, PewDiePie, in the beginning of his live stream. In the beginning of his live stream, as soon as he started filming when he was in a car, he just said, subscribe to PewDiePie. And sadly, he's showing how some crazy sicko with a smartphone now could just achieve instantaneous worldwide infamy. And this is something that we have to avoid here at all costs. This madman also even posted on Instagram his actions after committing the horrible actions that he did. And he definitely knew the media ecosystem, to say the least, with that subscribe to PewDiePie mention, of course, forcing many people to condemn PewDiePie after the attacks, making this story more viral and only amplifying it, which shows you how calculated and sick it was. The manifesto was duplicitous many times, contradicting himself, talking about how he was a left-wing, a right-winger, but again, was meant to stow a conversation, meant to stow division, meant to stow hatred. In one instance, he even mentioned himself as an eco-fascist who admired communist China. China, of course, that also has Muslim concentration camps. He also talked about how this was a revenge for ISIS. And again, this ideology needs to be called out because it's absolute lunacy. And it needs to be understood here by a lot of people that ISIS, the main targets, the main victims of ISIS are other Muslims. This idiot even failed to understand that. Again, just total lunatic, total duplicitous talk. But I think it's very clear that his actions are what he also wrote down and wanted, and that is more of a divide, more of a conflict between people on the left and right. He talked about a fascistic accelerationism, talking about how this is going to push an agenda where people are going to attack each other. And of course, sadly, this is what we're seeing. we're seeing people politicize this event in many different ways. We're seeing also really bad responses, like we did from Candace Owens. And again, people are just automatically going after PewDiePie, Donald Trump, and Candace Owens, and blaming other people, which, again, this madman actually wrote about in his manifesto. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's even bringing up the NRA right now, trying to counter Donald Trump for some strange reason. Again, this is not what this is supposed to be about. Again, bodies haven't even been cold yet, and people are already trying to be at their throats, trying to score political brownie points in this horrific moment. And that is absolutely sick. And it's sad because it seems like almost instantaneously people lost total lost just the total understanding that there's actual victims here. There's actual people affected by this, totally forgetting about the victims to, again, score political brownie points. Now, it is also important to understand here that there's 3 other individuals, 1 woman, 2 other people who have been captured, that it wasn't just one madman and his manifesto. There's actually videos of 2 other people running around that's been going around that also has been taken down. This guy's the main guy here. I was actually on his Twitter account, which was, again, freshly made and just started posting within the last few days. There's other unconfirmed information that he traveled to North Korea, that he traveled to Pakistan. Again, I haven't corroborated that, hearing that. But Jason, I think one thing that is very clear here, that there's more questions than answers, and a lot of crazy people willing to scream during this crazy, insane, emotional, turbulent time that sadly is only going to make things a lot worse.
I'm just, I don't really have a lot to say about this because it's so fresh, and I think that people are just using this for political purposes, which is disgusting. First of all, I don't care about the guy's manifesto. I don't care about anything he has to say. Anybody that would walk into a room and take the life of another human being that poses them no threat, that is not harming them, their family, it's appalling. I don't care what the color of their skin is. I don't care what their religious beliefs are. These are women, children, and innocent men. And I don't know how you watch this video, Luke. I really don't. I can't believe it. I understand that it was, breaking news or whatever, but when I had come across, you sending me stuff about it last night, I was like, I can't watch this. And finding out, just seeing the still shots of what's written on this person's shotgun and how, I read that stuff, and it's all bullshit. Anything in there, it's total bullshit. Nobody should give it any mind. It's disgusting that the headlines on this are trying to associate Trump. Listen, everybody's going to have an opinion on the president of the United States because everybody knows who he is. You talked about how he used PewDiePie in the very beginning, the subscribe to PewDiePie thing, which is more than a meme at this point, and everybody knows who he is, to garner attention. Well, why are we even talking about anything to do with his politics? And Ocasio-Cortez, she wasn't talking about the NRA. Let's be honest. Her tweet was directed at Trump, sending his prayers to the victims over in New Zealand. And then PR talking points said that was about the NRA. Why are we talking about the NRA? The NRA should have nothing to do with gun rights in another country. And this isn't about gun rights. What don't you understand? This guy had propane tanks and bombs 3 kilometers away in a Subaru, according to reports. Nobody's dead that's pulled this out, all right? And I want to point this out. Here's a shot of one of the other people that was taken into custody here. This is orchestrated murder, and I want to puke, Luke. I don't know that I have a lot more to say about this. It's something that obviously is going to be followed in the media, and if there's any other weird anomalies out there, I'll certainly be following this. But at this point, like you said, we're not showing his name. We're not showing his face, and I don't think that we should be giving light to any of his political ramblings.
Yeah, and I think that's important, and seeing people trying to politicize this. I mean, we see this on the left and we see this on the right, depending on what happens. If it's a radical Islamist, people automatically on the right start blaming all Muslims. If it's a right-wing guy, everyone starts blaming everyone on the right wing. That stuff needs to be stopped. We need to get to the bottom of these issues, and we need to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And sadly, that's not the discussion. Again, the clinical psychologists who study mass shootings and these type of larger terrorist attacks say, don't do these specific things. This is why we're covering this as best as we can. This is why we're not monetizing this video. No one should monetize any video about this serious talk. But one thing that you should do is, of course, localize the story. Talk about the victims and talk about the human element of this, which sadly, again, people are just forgetting. This is what I think is more important here. 49 individuals are no longer here with us, and they've been taken away unjustly, and we should do everything in our power to prevent this action from happening again, from this radicalization, from this divide and conquer, from this anger, from far-right ideologies that are just absolutely asinine and not helping this situation at all. And I think that's the least thing we could say on this very important issue.
Yeah, Luke, I got to tell you, I don't know that I have much more to say on this. It's unfathomable to lose. And it's 49 now. We have one person that's died in the hospital. There could be other people that are going to pass on this. And again, live streaming murder it's so repugnant, man. It's so repugnant. It's so beyond the pale. It's something, again, I didn't want, this, I didn't want to do this video today. I said, maybe we should wait and do it for the live stream tomorrow and kind of talk about it and let the dust settle a little bit, because, you're right, these bodies aren't even cold, bro. I mean, they're not. Some of these people, I just can't even imagine. And, all you people out there that for some reason would hate another person because, again, the color of their skin or their religious beliefs, and you just go walk and kill innocent people, man, I can't relate to you. I can't relate to you one bit.